Okay. Well, I'd like to welcome everybody who's watching. I am Wayne Zuhl from Remax First Realty 2, and joining me presenting this evening is Ira Bodenstein from Loan Depot, and you're going to hear from Ira in just a little bit. So what I want to talk about is why buy now, and talk about how you can go from paying someone else's mortgage to paying your own. So right now we're still working through COVID-19, and we're following all the CDC guidelines. Real estate is an essential business, so we are moving forward, but we're practicing as much safety as we can. Everybody wears masks. I don't care who you are, whether you want to wear them or not. If you're going in a house that's not yours that we're showing, you have to wear a mask. Many times I wear gloves. I carry hand sanitizer. We do everything we can. We always practice social distancing. We try to minimize the number of people. We don't shake hands. And we try to make sure that lights are on and doors are open. So that way there's as few surfaces that people can touch as possible. We want everybody to stay safe. So why buy? Well, you have to look at the cost of owning versus the cost of paying rent. And I'm breaking this down. The example I'm using is someone who's paying a rent of $2,000 a month. And at that $2,000 a month, it's costing them $24,000 a year. Well, if you look at that over 10 years, it's almost $250,000. And if you look at it over 30 years, it's $720,000 that you've given to your landlord. That's a lot of money. Imagine if you had to retire and you had to continue to pay rent versus paying off a home that's yours. You could pay it off in 30 years or less, rather than keep paying a landlord, money that you're running out of. So one thing that's really important to consider is how much money have you made since you started paying rent? Now, hopefully everybody's working and you're making money, but in the U.S., the average homeowner has 40 times the net worth of the average renter. And the bulk of that is the investment in their home and the equity in their home that grows over time. And that's a big thing. So some of the benefits of owning a home as opposed to renting, interest rate deduction. This is huge. When you're doing your taxes, every penny that you pay in interest, as long as your loan is $750,000 or less, anything above that you pay tax on. But below that amount, all the interest is tax deductible. So homeowners often get a big tax break at the end of the year. If you're paying, $1,000 a month in interest, which you could be, that's a $12,000 deduction on your taxes. That's a lot. Your property tax is deductible, and in New Jersey and the federal taxes, you're allowed to deduct up to $10,000 in those deductions. So $10,000, if your property tax is less than $10,000, it's fully deductible. If it's more than $10,000, obviously only the first $10,000 is deductible. So you can pay off home and you own an asset, as opposed to paying rent where you never own anything. And your equity appreciates. And what that means is over time, your house is going to grow in value. If you look at, I actually have numbers, which not in this presentation, but in another presentation, that shows that homes since 1970, if you average it out year by year, in New Jersey, homes have risen 5% per year. And now there's been ups and downs in that time. We went through a period starting in 2008 to 2012 where, homes depreciated in value. But since 2012, everything's gone up. And last year, prices went up almost 12% in New Jersey. So homes they're gaining that equity back, and all the equity that they lost in that 6-year span or 5-year span, whatever it was, they've gained back plus some. So that equity appreciates, and that's great to have an asset. There's if you look at the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, they don't grow at the rate that real estate grows. It's really a phenomenal investment. One of the great things about owning your own home, you can do what you want to it. you want to paint the walls pink, paint the walls pink. If you want to knock a wall down, as long as it's safe, go ahead. If you want to, put a new kitchen in, put a new kitchen in. It's yours. You can do what you want with it. And you'll never have a landlord try to evict you or raise your rent. So that's a huge benefit in owning. So the types of homes that you'd want to consider, the first thing that we look at are townhomes and condos. And the nice thing about a townhome or a condo is you don't have to worry about the exterior maintenance of the common areas, things like the grass and the snow removal and the windows and things like that. Most of the time, the windows, not always. So there's not much upkeep. But if you're a gardener, you're kind of limited in what you can do. But the only things you're responsible for are what's inside the four walls of the unit, not the outside. So there are advantages, but then the disadvantages, there's also disadvantages. You don't know who your neighbors are going to be. You don't have as much privacy and, things like that. So the single family home, the benefit there is you have privacy, but you're responsible for everything. You don't have somebody to take care of snow removal and cutting the grass and things like that. That's your responsibility to do all that. And then you have multifamilies, and a multifamily is, in a way, you're responsible for everything, but you can offset the cost of your mortgage expenses by renting out. If it's a two-family home, you rent out one unit, and I'll show you in a minute how much money you can save on your monthly mortgage. So when's the best time to buy? Well, the sooner the better. And when we hear from Ira in a couple of minutes, he'll tell you about what the interest rates are, but they're going up, and they're still low. People complain because the rates are going up, but they're still low, and they have gone up a little bit, then they came back down, but they're still historically low rates. And during the pandemic, prices have increased. There's a lot of reasons for that. There's been a lot of demand and not a lot of supply, so prices are going up. So the sooner you buy, the better price you're going to end up getting. By if you wait, the prices are still going up. I love this. You're already paying a mortgage, so switch it to yours and not your landlord's, and that's huge. And I tell people that if you really want to do this, you don't have to do it today. But whether it's 3 days, 3 months, or 3 years, we're here for you to help you through the process. And you want to work with experienced people that you can trust. So let's take a look at some real examples here. This is a single family home in Clark that I just pulled off the MLS today. It's 333 West Lane. It's a 4-bed, 1-bath home. It has central air, has some updates. And what would this house cost you? Come on. Okay. So the house is listed for $399,000. And if you bought the house at that price, putting down 3.5% as your down payment, which is just under $14,000, your annual taxes are about $7,500, and that's the property taxes. And your homeowner's insurance probably run you about $800 for a house like this. So including your mortgage, when you get a mortgage, it includes 4 basic things, and sometimes 5. But the 4 basic things are the principal and the interest on the loan itself, so that you're paying back part of what you borrowed and interest. That's 2 things. The property taxes, that's the 3rd one, and your homeowner's insurance is the 4th one. When you put down less than 20% or you have less than 20% equity in the home, you usually have to pay mortgage insurance, and it depends on the plan that you're in or the program that you're in. And I'll let Ira speak to that. But mortgage insurance is the 5th thing that would be in there, and this calculation includes mortgage insurance. So with taxes and everything, this 4-bedroom house, if you put 3.5% down, would cost you $26.38 a month. If you put down 5%, which is only it's $6,000 more, it only drops your payment by about $30 a month. So, the difference between the minimum down payment and a little bit more doesn't make a whole lot of sense in your monthly payment. Maybe you can utilize that $6,000 somewhere else. Now, if you put 10% down, you're still paying mortgage insurance, and that 10%, the monthly payment dropped to $2,507. So it's a difference from the minimum down payment to 10%. The difference is about not even $130 a month, or just over $130 a month. If you put down 20%, now the mortgage insurance goes away. And when you have 20% down, that monthly payment drops to just under $2,100 a month at $2,079 a month. That's a lot less than people are paying. You're not going to rent a 4-bedroom apartment for $2,000 a month in Clark, that's for sure. So, it's a lot cheaper than renting if you look at it that way. Now, if you look at a condo, and this one is a condo that's listed in Union, in the Point at Union. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. And at the 3.5% down payment, this includes the homeowner association fees. Now, the taxes on this are less. They're only $5,300 a year. The mortgage, not the mortgage insurance, but the homeowner's insurance on a condo is a lot less expensive than it is on a house. And it would probably run you somewhere $300 to $400 a year for a unit like this. So I assume $300. The homeowner association fee is $373 a month. And that $300 is an annual thing, and so is the taxes, but it gets broken up into monthly payments. So your monthly payment at 3.5% down on this condo, which is listed for $245,000, would be just over $2,000 a month. Now, again, if you put down a little more money, at 5%, it drops the payment by, $18. It's not much. 10%, it drops it under $2,000, but at 20% down, which is $49,000 down, your payment is just under $1,700 a month, which you're not going to rent a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in the Point for $1,700 a month. It's going to cost you a lot more than that. So the multifamily, now this example, and there's an error on here, and I'll explain the error when I get to it. This is in Linden. I know it doesn't look like a multifamily home, but it is. There's 2 units. Each unit has 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. And this is selling for $310,000. So if you put 3.5% down, which is just under $11,000, between your taxes and your homeowner's insurance, your monthly payment is $2,251. Now, the rental income is not $2,300. That's the error. The rental income is about $1,300 for the 1 unit. So you can rent the 1 unit out for $1,300 and live in the other one. So you're paying about $900 a month out of pocket to live there in this 2-family house, which is going to appreciate over time. We look at it with not a big change. Again, 20-something dollars, $24. If you go 5%, if you go 10%, it drops it down about $100 a month. But at that 20% mark, your monthly payment is $1,800 and change a month. And, if you're getting $1,300 a month in rent on an $1,800 mortgage, you're putting $500 out of your pocket essentially to pay the rent, and your tenant is paying the rest. And if you're paying, $2,000 a month rent now, you're really making $1,500 a month in savings over time. And that adds up, and you'll see that it adds up for yourself. So what do you need to know? Well, this is a little bit about me. And as a buyer's agent, I never bill you for my services. You don't pay me directly. The seller compensates me at the closing. So you never pay me directly. You buy a home, we have a team of people that you'll work with. You want to have a home inspection done, you'll need an attorney, you'll need a title company, and we have people to help you with that. The reason you want a title company, you have to get title insurance for yourself and for the lender. That's your responsibility. And there's a fixed price for that based on the purchase price of the home. But you want to make sure that the home you're getting doesn't have any liens on it. So if the seller were for example, was selling their home and they had a lawsuit against them and they lost the lawsuit and there's a $200,000 judgment against them, that's a lien on their property. Well, that lien has to be cleared before you buy the house, because if you buy the house without clearing the lien, you now owe somebody $200,000. So your title company is going to make sure that all that is free and clear and liens are released and paid off, and they're not going to be your headache. And they go back over, they'll look at the history of the property and go way back to make sure that you're not inheriting something that was missed. And the insurance that they sell you covers that. So if something did pop up, you could rely on your title insurance policy to take care of it, and it's not going to kill you. You're not going to lose your house. The contracts are contingent on getting a mortgage. So if something happens and you can't get the mortgage, you walk away, you get your money back. And, you know, the only expense you might have out of pocket is, I'm sure, a small fee to the attorney and maybe the home inspection fee. But for the most part, you'll get your money back. So, and because you sign a 30-year mortgage, you're not stuck for 30 years. You can sell the house anytime you want. So at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn things over to Ira. So I'll ask Ira to make sure he's unmuted. And Ira, it's all you.
Thank you, Wayne. So now that you've made this decision to buy a house, realize that this is going to be your largest financial asset. A home will appreciate, but one of the reasons to own rather than rent is you want to pay your mortgage, you want to build up equity and wealth. And it's behooves you, for many reasons Wayne mentioned, to own and not to rent. The average annual appreciation, as Wayne may have mentioned, since 1977 is 5 to 6%. And at a 3% annual appreciation, a house for $375,000, therefore, is worth $910,000 in 30 years. Next slide, Wayne. Wayne's controlling the slide. Sorry, guys. Buying your first home is an emotional decision. When you're looking, you have to decide, and you should probably make a list. It's a good idea as to what you are looking for in a house. What do you want? What's the most important things to look for? Because honestly, you're going to have to compromise certain things. Some things may not be big enough as you may like them. Some things may be as big as you like them, whether it's a backyard, a kitchen, a bedroom, etc. Those are things that you should have in mind as to what you're looking for. Next slide, Wayne. So again, growing wealth is just a component of home ownership. You do get tax benefits by owning, and you don't get any tax benefits by renting. So not only do you grow an asset, but you can save on your income taxes, which save you money in other ways. Next slide, Wayne. So in a few years, you can use the equity in your home to trade up, meaning you can sell your house if it appreciates, say, pick a number, 20, 30, 40%. Now you can take that extra money that you've earned by paying your mortgage down. So now you've grown your equity, as well as the appreciation of your property. And now you want to trade into something bigger. You can come back to Wayne, and Wayne will be happy to, first of all, list your house. So make sure you get the maximum amount of money out of your house. But more importantly, Wayne can show you something else that you may be interested in to grow your wealth and your family. Your family needs have changed. Next slide, Wayne. So if you took out a 30-year fixed rate loan for $375,000 and your monthly payment was $2,250, you'd pay $810,000 in mortgage and interest rates over the life of the loan. But more importantly, what would you be paying if you were renting and at the end of 30 years you owe nothing? So after 30 years, you could own a home with an appreciated value potential of about $910,000 compared to paying $2,000 per month over 30 years. You'll lay out $720,000 and own nothing. The only person who would own something is your landlord or landlady. Next slide.
All right. So the Ira, just to piggyback on what Ira said, you've got, after 30 years, you know, the difference between what you paid out and what the home is worth is probably about $100,000 in your favor, but you've also had a place to live for 30 years. And that's really important to consider in that calculation. So the process when you're buying a home, first you have to get approved, and that's where Ira comes in. You know, you talk to Ira, you give him your information or whatever mortgage rep you're working with, but Ira's wonderful. And they're going to ask you a few questions. They'll run your credit and they'll write an approval letter and they'll let you know exactly what you can afford. And that's the reason you need to get that approval, is you don't want to be looking at a $400,000 house if you can only afford a $300,000 house. So rather than wasting everybody's time, you get that pre-approval, you know exactly how much you can afford, and that's the price range you start looking at. So that's, again, you get approved and we go out and we start looking at homes. When we find a place we like, we submit an offer. And in this market, there's a lot of competition, but once we get the offer accepted, then we go on to the attorney review process. They make their changes that they make, and then it goes to what we call under contract. And once it's under contract, that's when the clock starts running on everything. And that's when you start doing your inspections. You start getting all your documents to the mortgage company. You do your due diligence. And that's right there. I'm ahead of myself. You do your due diligence and make sure everything's in order. And then you go to the closing and you get the keys to the house, and now you're a homeowner. And as complicated as it sounds, one of my jobs, and I feel this is a really important job, is I do the worrying for you. And when it's time to worry, I'll let you know. But, you know, my job is to help you not sweat the small stuff and to get you to the closing table. And, you know, that's really the important thing to consider, because once you're in your own home, whether it's a condo or a multifamily home or a single family home, it doesn't really matter. But now you're making money for yourself. It doesn't feel like it, but when you go to sell, boy, it's a big difference. And that equity grows over time. So, you know, if you're in the house for 10 years, you're going to turn around and you're going to sell it and you're going to make money. And you're going to make a substantial amount of money. And as long as that money is under, right now, I think the amount's $250,000 in profit. Is the first $250,000 is non-taxable for an individual, and the first $500,000 for a married couple is non-taxable. It's a capital gains, so it's only anything above that amount. So it's a great investment. You have the tax shelter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to open this up to questions. I'm going to stop. I'll leave the image up here. So if anybody wants to write down our contact info, we have it there, but I will ask if you want to just unmute and ask any questions. Actually, let me stop the share.
I mean, I have a few questions, but I didn't write them down. This is Tara.
Okay, go ahead, Tara.
Okay, so I actually wanted to ask if you, or probably Ira, could explain FHA loans and whether they're just for first-time home buyers.
Thank you, Tara. So FHA is not just for first-time home buyers. I'll recommend an FHA loan if your credit score is less than stellar. More importantly, if you're putting less than 20% down and your credit score is a little less than stellar. And the reason for that, Tara, is that conventional loans, which are backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, it's your credit score that can affect the interest rate. Whereas FHA, it doesn't. FHA doesn't care if your score is 620 or 820 or anywhere in between. Your interest rate will be the same. So when you're putting less than 20% down, that's typically where I would recommend an FHA loan. And the other place, Tara, is FHA allows for less than 5% down. Minimum payment on FHA is 3.5%. FHA, if you're looking at multifamily homes, 2 to 4 family properties, you can still do 3.5% down. Whereas conventional loans require more down payment if you're doing that 2 to 4 unit property. The other advantage to FHA, Tara, is if the house needs improvements or upgrades, we can do that all in a single closing FHA 203K loan where we lend on the future value of the property. So there's a couple examples where FHA would be a great program.
Right. That I was trying to explain that to somebody today about that I believe that there was a loan available based on not only the value now, but if you had renovations included in it, the future value. So is that
correct?
Thing?
That's an FHA 203K.
Okay.
So let's say, for example,
and what about veterans? Like if you're a veteran,
you can with a VA loan, you can borrow 100% of the purchase price. You either have to be you have to be a veteran or the spouse of a veteran. You can't have a non-veteran who is not a spouse on a VA loan. That's another restriction on that type of property.
I was going to say that there's also USDA loans that people don't often think about, especially in New Jersey, but you'd be surprised at the areas where you can use them. There's very little in Union County. I don't think there's any in Essex County,
right.
But if you go out
and
in
the
some
rural
places,
right.
well, even
what about like Sussex County?
Well, oh yeah, Sussex County, you can definitely use them there, and those are 0% down. Also, that's 100% financing.
Yeah. So I guess meeting with you, like you can determine like what would be like based on like their circumstances, what's applicable, but you'd be able to give them more options probably than a lesser known company. And I'm not trying to promote you, but I've talked to you a few times in the past, and I'm just trying to get this all on the road because I mean, I know lots of people who are in that first time home buyer range, and I'm coming on in behalf of my son, who I may end up buying a house with him myself. So that's why I wanted to be on.
One of the things that we can provide for you, that I can do for you, and for any buyer in New Jersey, is I can set you up with automated searches. So this way you kind of get a feel for what's going on in a specific market. And usually when I do that, obviously we have a consultation and then I go and set it up. But those automated searches will let you know, they're basically set up so every day you'll get an email if there's new listings or if there's changed listings.
Yeah.
And this way, and I can set the criteria on it. So if you say, I only want to look at 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses in this town, I can set up a search for you, so you'll only see 3-bed, 2-bath houses in that town.
And that's really cool because I was thinking maybe a duplex, something like that, might be a better way. So we have separate space,
right?
One ownership, or dual ownership, and then you could set that criteria up for us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So we can talk about that offline, but yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
That's easy to do. Any other questions? No? All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again in the near future.